We often discuss the high technologies of ancient civilizations, and find all sorts of evidence of their use in the past. Also, many authors on YouTube talk a lot about this and cite a lot of indisputable facts in support of this theory. For example, clear traces of mechanical processing on ancient stones, which cannot be confused with anything. And there are thousands of such traces. You just need to show a little attention and learn to notice them. Perhaps the past civilization did not go through the development of electronics and the development of mechanical engineering, which we can boast of, but used alternative technologies that were, as archaeological excavations show, much more effective than modern ones. But if we assume that they still had some machines and apparatuses, then why don't archaeologists find them? Or maybe they still find it. I often come across photos of strange ancient figurines and sculptures on the internet, on various sources. Many authors claim that they depict ancient high-tech machines and mechanisms used for the extraction of various kinds of minerals, as well as for the processing of stone. If so, it simply tears to pieces all the concepts and postulates imposed on us from childhood about the world history of mankind. This is just a bomb in the scientific world, and it is natural that none of the historians, archaeologists and other adherents of official science, fed from someone's powerful hand, is interested in making public, and most importantly in the study of these artifacts. Let's first look at examples of the use of this technique, if it was still available in the past civilization. And there are many such examples. Egypt is the first in line. These holes are made in the stones of the pyramids. How do you think they could have been made? We will also consider a few more examples from different countries. What tools were used? That's just not necessary to refer to the team now. The language does not turn to called scientists against myths. Let them hang their lies on the ears of those who did not even hold a hammer in their hands. I am an electric and gas welder by training. For a long time I worked in my specialty. By the nature of my work, when installing various types of structures, I had to hammer concrete, and fill it where it was necessary, and work with various types of rocks and soils when preparing sites, and in general, what not to do, since employers never want to pay and had to do the work. To perform which required 10, 15 people, do it together, 3 of them. I will tell you this, in a good, high-quality monolith that will not fall apart after a season, in order to simply drill a few holes, you need to make enough effort. And here is solid granite and bronze tools. Let the scientists tell such nonsense to the guys working on monoliths, stone processing and other heavy working specialties. And this is India. How can such a thing be carved in stone? No way. I already wanted to swear. There's no way you can cut it without using high-tech technology. And I emphasize that you will cut it out, and not melt it or fill it, because here in these places you can clearly see the traces of rough machine processing. Here's an example of modern processing of granite. Do they look like footprints? False scientists say that these are the marks of a chisel. You can't do this in any way, not with a chisel, not with bronze scrapers, not with any other primitive tools. Only with the use of any advanced tools in the likeness of modern ones. And modern it can be done at best only by master professionals. Another stone in India too. Scientists just mock us. India again. And this is made with a bronze scraper. Or is it? The columns are clearly not made by hand. Well, who would have thought that this was done with bronze scrapers? How far these people are out of touch with reality. They live in their own little world and don't want to see reality, or how much they think everyone is an idiot. And this is the famous ballback. These photos clearly show traces of mechanical impact. It was like being cut with a huge diamond disc. According to scientists, this was also sawed with bronze saws. And this is Mexico, the Pyramid of the Morning Star. This structure is also worthy of special attention, but today we are not talking about the pyramid itself. We are interested in the stone statues located on the top, namely what they have in their hands. In her right hand is an object that looks very much like a modern punch. In the left there is also an object with a strange tip. It's crazy, what a puncher in those early days, you say. But look at these holes in various ancient stones. How to make such a hole, and even with an internal notch? And this? Egypt. There's clearly a circular saw mark here. Jordan. This majestic structure is carved right out of the rock. The question is what? What tools and devices? And most importantly, why? After all, it is much easier to build a building in a flat area and from completely different materials than to hollow it out of the rocks. And even the workers had to work at such a height. The end does not justify the means. How many generations will it take to carve it all out of the rocks? And if this is a temporary measure for the period of any disaster, then there is no time for sophistication. Why not build a temporary simple but at the same time durable shelter? Why get so worked up? No, this is not a temporary forced construction, but a work of art. And it was not difficult for the ancient builders to build all this. Clearly high-tech construction methods were used. And this is a rock in the same Jordan. Familiar footprints again. What was it cut off with? What size should the machine have been? What did it do? Or was the rock sawed with a bronze nail file by illiterate aborigines? There are not many stones lying around. We decided to chop off a piece of more. In general, the question remains open. If the past civilization had high technologies, and in particular for processing stone, then where are all these machines and mechanisms? Why don't archaeologists find them? After all, it should be at least hundreds or even thousands of finds. In the book The Rainbow Conspiracy by Steiger and Sherry Hansen, it is described how an ancient incomprehensible machine was dug up from a great depth in about 1991 years. According to Steiger's anonymous informant, it's an incredible, gigantic artifact. Also, 5 or 6 more of the same kind were found nearby, but then all of them were buried back in the same place. The surface of the mysterious device was covered with specific hieroglyphs. There is only one photo left and not very good quality. I do not know how much this information corresponds to reality, but it is still worth thinking about. Brad Steiger is a world-renowned archaeologist, the author of more than 160 books on the mysteries of prehistoric eras and related paranormal phenomena. This book contains his proof of the existence of a prehistoric civilization, which historians do not want to talk about. When Steiger's first book on prehistoric civilizations was published, furious opponents said that he had no right to publish data on archaeological discoveries that were so contrary to the accepted system of dating the evolution of mankind. In my opinion, if the photo is reliable, then it is logical to assume that this information will be hidden in every possible way. And the insignificant part of this information leaked to the masses and one incomprehensible photo, of course, will not be subjected to persecution, as this will cause even more questions from the public. Therefore, it is easier to leave everything as it is and it will look like the nonsense of one mad scientist. It is logical that if the past civilization had high technologies for processing stone, then they were in everything. They could not develop only in the direction of construction. But what is most surprising and, in my opinion, beyond any criticism is that scientists and historians tell us that for thousands of years humanity has not developed in any way and has stood still, but over the past 100-200 years there has been a boom in the development of chemistry, physics, mathematics, and so on. All sorts of mechanisms, apparatuses, and electricity eventually began to be invented. Apparently, some incompetents were born before, but in the 20th and 20th centuries, mostly prodigies were born, who opened up all the charms of modern technologies to humanity.